Well, hello there, Curvis. Welcome to the 50th episode of Curve the Cube. Woo! This is Jemmy of Flintstone Media, your host and producer of Curve the Cube, and I just want to say, episode 50. It's like such a milestone, and I feel like we're in the midst of milestones right now. I mean, I just had my anniversary episode with Congresswoman Lois Frankel, which was so exciting, and here we are with my 50th episode. So I just want to shout out my listeners real quick and say thank you for continuing to have this podcast grow. I mean, and thank you for following us on social media. I mean, people are following Curve the Cube on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It seems like almost every day there are new followers, new subscribers, and new listeners. So thank you for helping this podcast become a success. It's my passion project, and it couldn't happen without you. So thank you so much. And on this 50th episode, I have a very awesome and super inspiring guest. His name is Peter Agardy, and he is one of the co-founders of Saltwater Brewery. Now, Saltwater Brewery is the very first craft beer spot in Delray. It's right there of Atlantic and 95. It's just west of 95 on Atlantic on the, north side. I had to get my bearings. On the north side. And it's such an amazing spot. We talk about what goes into the making of craft beer, from the ingredients to the barrel it's stored in. I mean, it's a real science, and it's just fascinating to me that people really are craftsmen with this stuff. I mean, it's called craft beer for a reason, I guess. And we also talk about the roots of the brewery and how it got off the ground and why, and all the fun events that they planned there. They have trivia nights and live music and Sunday brunches and just so much going on. And we just get into so much more about the brewery itself. And there's always like a food truck pretty much parked outside. It's one, that changes what's out there, and they're just super yummy food trucks. So anyways, go to saltwaterbrewery.com and, check in there, get to know what the events that are coming up. You will not regret for 1 second stepping foot into this place. It was absolutely phenomenal. I had a great time, and you will too. But the backbone of the brewery is not only the creation of craft beer, but also they have a real heart for charity and the environment and on love of our oceans. And so Peter and I talk a lot about how they give back to our community and the environment, and it's really nice to hear him talk about that type of stuff too. And being an artist is really in this man's blood just as much as salt life and the love of craft beer. He is a fine artist, and his art is super vivid, just breathtaking. His underwater scenes are phenomenal. They make you really feel like you've been transported into the ocean for a moment, and they're just stunning. You have to go see him. So look him up. Google for Peter Agardy Fine Art. I think that's the URL, but I could be wrong. It's in the write-up, but just Google it. You'll find it super fast, and you got to check out his stuff. It's super impressive. And also catch the if you catch a can of their Screaming Reels, which is available in all kinds of stores, including at the brewery itself. Catch a can of Screaming Reels, and you'll notice that the label, it's actually a Peter Agardy original painting. Beautiful. But so this content creator is not only just brilliant and inspiring, but he's also very humble, which I love. You'll hear that come through in this podcast. Was evidence also in our emails when he wanted to make sure that I didn't call him the founder, but I called him the co-founder. He was really, really nice, and to hear him be so humble was just especially amazing for someone who harbors so much talent that it's just literally bubbling up from his pores. And no pun intended. Okay, well, pun kind of intended, but whatever. And after we wrapped up, what we didn't capture on audio was he gave me a tour of the brewery, but they do brewery tours, so go check out saltwaterbrewery.com for the tour schedule and go check it out yourself. But then after, you'll hear like a little transition beep, and he walks me through a super tasty flight that he treated me to, made me feel like a rock star, of 4 of their craft beers that were so good. I mean, just delicious. So go check out saltwaterbrewery.com, check out the brewery itself. I hope you get to meet Peter Agardy, but just go have a brew and a great, great time, and you will not regret it. But do so after you listen to this podcast, of course. But this episode of Curve the Cube is sponsored by another previous podcast guest, Pizza Girls from episode 17. They basically are West Palm Beach's top spot for authentic New York pizza, and it's so good. They're located right in the heart of downtown by the fountains where Clematis meets Flagler, that, you know, almost to the waterfront, but not quite. Go in and have a slice and meet the girls, meet their crew. They're super amazing, and the pizza is delicious. And if you go to pizzagirls.com and if you order online, you get 10% off your first order, which is awesome. So follow them too on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Oh, and don't forget to follow Saltwater Brewery on all their social media as well. Duh. I also want to mention a quick thank you to DJ John Hitta for providing the music bed that you're listening to. And that's about it. So enjoy this, the 50th episode of Curve the Cube. This has been Jemmy with Flintstone Media, your host and producer. Just a big shout out to my listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and enjoy. Curve the Cube will now initiate. Hi there. Nice to meet you. I'm Jemmy. How are you? All right.
We're going to probably set up in the lab.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds awesome. Perfect. Quite a crowd tonight. Is this a special event, it looks like? Or?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yep. Perfect. Let's finish the show.
What's your show?
Walking Dead.
Are you the last one, most recent one?
I'm on the season finale of season 5.
Okay,
and then through the next week.
Okay.
I know what happened in the last one. It's
You
okay.
do? Okay. I'm still recovering. I called my brother yesterday and I'm like,
Hashtag Glenn something. Hashtag Glenn something. But I mean,
I called my brother and I said, listen, no spoilers, just make sure you're mentally prepared.
but I mean, typically if a character dies, they have the actor show up on The Talking Dead, and he wasn't there, and they had Chris Hadley or whatever read that note from the producer.
Yeah, and then there was the in memoriam. All it said for his part was, it didn't even show his face or even say his name. It just says, "Please say it isn't true. Please say it isn't true. Please say it isn't true." So it's a total teaser, but you don't know if they're just toying with us or.
That's why they call it a teaser.
Yeah, that's true. Duly noted.
Yeah, this is our little lab. We don't have much large equipment here, but
Yeah.
it's a space for our brewers to have an office.
There you go.
Or if you'd like the big coffee chair.
No, it's fine. Really, I'm okay.
I just took notes. I just literally did some bullet points off all the points you did, so because I didn't want to miss anything.
Oh, you're
I'm
so
just
funny.
gonna talk. In
Yeah,
conversational
like
format.
I said, just
Yeah.
you know, be you, and that's all.
Nothing
that's all
I haven't
ask.
talked about quite a bit before.
Sure. All right, let me
Yeah.
bring this up here. How's your day going?
Going well.
Yeah?
We have big meetings this week about projecting the season. Our season, so
Yeah.
we're coming out like the slowest month. So
Is that typical for?
yeah, typical
October?
for South Florida in September and October. It's like September and June or September and May are the slowest, but September, October back to back are pretty slow.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of places like in the Keys will shut down for September. Not a lot. I mean, a handful, but anyone shutting down. It's crazy.
I guess because it's like, yeah, that's kind of right after. We're kind of between what they call down here the season, right?
Yeah, like our season really, for us, really is like December through April, or even January through April. But end of October starts to feel a little cooler, and people start to come out more, and people come down.
Right.
But it's still been pretty warm, and it's all about people coming down.
Exactly. Getting all those crowds in, I hear you. All right, so we're sitting here. Well, I'm sitting here. I don't know about we. Multiple personality disorder. I'm sitting here with Peter Agardy. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Agardy.
Agardy. Okay.
Yeah.
In my head, it was this whole time it's been Agardy, but Agardy.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Ellis Island somewhere. We're supposed to pronounce it a certain way.
Gotcha. Well, it happens. So you are the co-founder of Saltwater Brewery, which is the first craft brewery place in Delray, and I just think it's an amazing accomplishment, and I was really excited to sit with you and chat it up. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Of course.
Today. Yeah. So, I also want to tell you, this is actually my 50th episode, so a big thank you for being part of the milestone. So, my dad, he spent about 20 years in the beer industry. He, on the distribution side, he worked with William Thies and Sons, and then he worked with Gold Coast. But none of that beer knowledge rubbed off on me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think we're also talking about a totally different class of beers. But that could, I mean, is that true?
Well, Thies and Sons, when Gold Coast, I think, took over, bought Thies and Sons, they started to introduce a little more craft, I believe, and then I think since then, the Reyes brothers have now bought Gold Coast.
Gotcha.
So there's been a lot more craft management, but yeah, it's a whole different game nowadays.
Yeah,
the
and
percentages of sales, everything's different. Yep.
Yeah, I know, like Miller and Budweiser just merged, and
there's a big merger about to happen.
I
An
thought it had
aggressive
already
takeover, they call it.
Oh, well, stay above the fray. That sounds intimidating. So, I wanted to. So, what was your role? Because I know you were one of, was it 5 or 6 original founders?
Oh gosh, there is I would say 5 original founders. One of those 5 can be kind of a family, the last name, the Goves, the Gove family, and which includes sons and mother, father, and the whole family side of that. And the other 4 founders would be me, Bo Eaton.
I met Bo.
Yep, you just met Bo. Dustin Jeffers, and Bill Taylor was one of our early founders who came in and helped us with a project originally. He's no longer with us. He's parted ways, both in great terms. But he was originally part of the project, and now it's the 4 founders that are still operating as a group. Chris Gove, Bo, myself, and Dustin.
Gotcha. And I know you're the creative and marketing director for the brewery. Was that your role during the founding of it? Was that, or how would you describe your role in getting the operations going?
So my role originally really was artwork. You know, like how are we going to create logos and imagery to represent a brewery. It goes farther because we were starting to homebrew in my art studio in Boca Raton.
Gotcha.
So the grassroots kind of side of it was at my studio in Boca Raton, and Dustin, my now cousin-in-law through marriage.
Congratulations.
Thanks. He moved down 4 years ago, and to get his master's degree.
Yeah.
He taught me how to homebrew. A longtime friend of mine, Bo Eaton, was in the distribution world for 8 years, beer distribution. Chris Gove, one of our other founders, was out in San Diego. His family was here locally. They own the brewery building that we're in.
Okay.
So
what was it? Can I ask what it was used for before?
Yeah, this was the old Delray Beach Farm Supply Building.
Oh.
1952, constructed out of original Dade County pine, harvested in southern Florida, shipped up the railroad to Georgia, milled, and back down here.
Gotcha.
And built as a pole barn. It was like the only place you really was the farthest west building by far. This was like the boonies. Delray was pretty, still underdeveloped, and it was where you got your feed, your pesticides, your local shovels. Everything. It was your Home Depot.
Right.
Including Levi's. It was an outlet for Levi's. Eventually
Really?
supplied like school uniforms. It's got a rich history for Delray.
Interesting.
Rich history for sure, and then it turned into a couple different businesses before we eventually took it over 2012. And with the Goves, the owners of the building being a big part of the owners of the business as well, and big contributing factors to helping the build out and the dream come true. So I was, how I came in was through that art factor and kind of.
By the way, the logo is gorgeous.
Thank
It
you.
always catches my eye every time I
Thank
see
you.
it. I think it's really spectacular.
Thank you. I get definitely a that process of coming up with a concept and then refining it, and then throwing out that idea and then doing 10 more things. So we were really cleaning out this building and actively home brewing in it for fun and to do it, to start to formulate recipes and formulate processes of brewing well before we had a name or knew what we were going to do. So that transition from the studio brewing to the building here, Chris Gove, who is now our president of operations, coming from San Diego around that time, Dustin in school for his master's, homebrew with me here, Bo Eaton working still in distribution, becoming a part of that discussion of being a founder with us. Yeah. And it kind of came from that whole group of friends and grassroots.
Interesting.
Yeah, this was fun.
So was that time in those early months, or was it years or months that you would say?
Oh, it turned into a year or two. Yeah. But it was early months.
Was that like your crash course in brewing?
I mean, I guess before we really became even the concept that we could do a brewery and we realized what we were going to do at all was just for a hobby with me and Dustin. And a lot of home brewers who do it as a hobby kind of eventually realize it can become a realistic goal for a career. Yeah. And they either go all in usually or they keep it as a hobby. And we all went in.
What made you flip the switch to decide to go in?
The opportunity for this building and the opportunity to work with a local family who I had known and Bo had known since we were babies. One of our best friends, Ray, is the brother to Chris, the son of Lee and Glenn, who own the building. So very, very close knit, and the opportunity to come here in this building to possibly build out a full-scale brewery was a huge draw, a huge what should I say?
Opportunity
scary.
Scary.
Commitment. Commitment. I was 2 years into building my art career at a gallery and a studio, and Bo was well on his way to becoming a big player in the beer distribution world too, where he was. So Dustin Masters, Chris in San Diego he was working at a huge firm doing commercial real estate acquisition.
Oh my gosh!
So huge commitments to just kind of starting a new path together.
Yeah. So, what was when you guys actually started putting the wheels in motion? What was the hardest challenge that you maybe was the scariest or didn't anticipate and kind of came up? And what was the biggest obstacle for you guys?
The biggest obstacle in the beginning for sure was, how the heck do we brew beer on a large scale when we've only been brewing 5 gallons at a time? So that's where I mentioned earlier, one of our earlier co-founders, Bill Taylor, came into play, who I had met on a vacation I was on in Montana. I have a family history of visiting that state. Yeah. Awesome state. Gotta visit it.
I've never been, but
if you haven't been,
it's now on my pin list.
It's all amazing. Great beer too. Maybe a great beer out there. Bill was a huge factor we found to help us, very instrumental in coming down and helping build the brewery and get our translation of beer from a small scale to a larger scale. Okay. And he was with us, like I said, for a year and a half, and he owned a brewery in Montana prior. He'd since sold then, moved down here, but ultimately his family brought him back to Montana. He had a family out there, and we've since we parted ways, Dustin has become our head of brewing operations. Gotcha. So that kind of covers where he left us, but and Dustin's done a phenomenal job. But so that's kind of was one of our biggest hurdles was to find out how we translate into that. So when we found Bill, it was amazing. We started. We went boom, and we ordered tanks We started ordering equipment. We started putting. Well, first, hold on. We put together a business plan. You know, where is this all going to come from?
Yeah.
I have, you know, a conceptual branding background. Chris has got the leadership. Bo's got amazing sales.
Yeah.
Dustin is going to be, you know, the plan was to have him learn as much from Bill as he could and see how those relationships developed in the back of the brewing. It just so happens now here he is today, our head brewer and head of brewing operations. So it you know, paid off huge for him being involved.
Yeah, it seems like it was all kind of meant to be.
Yeah, and that's how it's fallen into place. A lot of hard work though getting to those points, but
I can imagine.
that's how. Those were some of the bigger hurdles. Some of the, you know, definitely one of the biggest hurdles was raising money, and getting the Goves on board immensely into helping build this. Lee having a huge Lee being the patriarch of the Gove family. Chris's dad had a huge background in development in South Florida.
Oh, that's
so developing this project. He's a very amazing eye for architecture detail and working with local architects, working with the city. Huge hurdles working with the city. Funding came in from their end. We also found a couple other, you know, silent investors who were actually friends of family and friends of friends who we thought were great fits for the company. And so we raised capital, and then once we, you know, pulled the trigger on ordering equipment, you know, the next hurdle begins. You know, at this point we had definitely decided on a name. You know, Saltwater had become our name in the process. That I'm skipping over, but
no worries.
Yeah. But there's quite a bit that went into, you know, every single aspect.
I can imagine.
You know, the building alone was the 1952 barn. So we'll get back to that. It was. If you visit the brewery, you know, if the listeners visit the brewery, visit. You'll notice we took out the second. You'll notice the tanks that rise through the first floor, and there's a mezzanine that you could. There's space above the brewery. You can walk around and see stuff. Not open to the public for private tours and such. You get to see the back, but we did a lot of modifications to the building, worked with architects, and had to redesign and structurally engineer the whole building again. All the big equipment, so chillers, tanks, permitting processes. City of Delray, like you said in the beginning, had yet to have a real production brewery here. There was a Hops, which was a chain of brew pubs in West Delray at one point, which failed and wasn't here at the right time and wasn't considered that microbrewery, more of a brew pub and chain. We had to do a lot of working with the city on what they didn't know and what we really didn't know a little bit of, and working together to figure out how we're going to rezone and all this lot of paperwork, a lot of permitting.
Well, it sounds like it was important to take a lot of care and make sure that all the pieces were put in place at the right time and in the right way, and that's probably, I mean, you can probably attribute a great amount of the success to just that initial foundation being so well crafted. No,
but that's what you're hit on the mark, because when you say well crafted, it's just like the beer we're making.
Yeah.
It has to be well crafted.
Of course.
It's a local handmade product, and all of our hands are literally on it from the start to finish.
They wash them, listeners. They wash them.
Yes, very much, always. Employees must wash their hands. But yeah, it was like, it's for it to be true, it's got to be true from the get-go.
Yeah.
And just like the beer we're brewing, we've gotten much better at what we do here from a beer standpoint, and it's just always about trying to improve on what you're doing, because you can, because you're the one producing it, so you're the only one who has the ability to make it better. Yeah. And the perception is all, you know, what you make of it.
Totally. So what year was it? Was it actually the doors actually?
We technically opened as the brewery. We did hit our 2013 mark.
Okay.
We opened on December 27th, 2013.
There you go.
So we hit our 2013.
It counts.
Yeah, yes.
It totally counts. Yes.
Yeah, totally counts. Are you
Totally
kidding me?
counts.
Totally counts.
So I was born in September of 1979, and I'm so excited to be able to say that I was a child of the 70s. It counts!
Absolutely, it counts. Yeah, yeah. My brother was 80. He's an 80s baby. Yeah.
So, because I've noticed, I mean, there's been a major trend that has been bubbling up in this country for craft beer in the last, I would say, I probably noticed the last 5-10 years is when it finally first came to my attention. Was that purposeful? Was it just because it was a fun hobby that you thought could translate, or did you think that there was really a huge trend for it?
I mean, that was a huge factor when we were talking about using this size of a building, this size of a project, and the amount of the pitch to the investors as well, which was a true pitch because of what's happening.
Of course.
What we're talking about is like total boom in the craft industry.
Yeah.
And Colorado, Washington State, Oregon for sure, California for sure, even Northeast, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York, those areas have been experiencing it longer than we have in the Southeast. But even, I think what's happened is they've been experiencing it for a while.
Yeah.
It hit the Southeast coast, finally hit down all the way down to Miami and Key West. Key West has had a couple places for a while, but never to recognize until this booms happened.
Right.
But now it's a bounce back effect. It's like it's becoming hugely popular everywhere again.
Yeah.
Where it's been popular in Colorado and California a little bit, came back, boom, it's blowing up in Florida. Florida's now the fastest growing, for sure, 100% the fastest growing in craft.
No kidding.
It's now, I don't quote me, but I think we're 5th or 6th in the country now for amount of breweries and craft consumption.
Wow.
Which, like, 7 years ago, we would have not even been in any of those stats.
I was, the first time I'd ever even really heard about it was, I used to work with this company, and I had to travel to Cleveland a lot, like 2-3 times a week I was up there.
Midwest, even Midwest.
Yeah, and I went out to dinner with an associate, and we went to a craft brewery. I'm like, we're going to a brewery for dinner? What are you talking about? I didn't get it. And we went, and it was this menu, and it was in December, so they had Christmas related themed stuff, and I just had never seen that before, and this was probably maybe 2007-ish, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. So that was the first time I'd ever even heard of it, and like you said, it wasn't down here, and it was something really cool. So when in the last couple of years when I've seen it coming around down here, I was like,
very excited.
Yeah, very excited.
We're excited too. I think everyone in the industry is very excited.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new. We've all, most of the people who are creating the breweries right now in Florida, or have been creating them for the past 5 years, let's say, they've been in craft beer for longer. They just haven't really understood that it's doable in Florida. Now it is. Now it's like catching on like wildfire here.
Yeah.
And it's got everything that you want. It's got a quality product, local, this, that, and the other thing. So it's obvious that it's doing so well.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It's just a huge opportunity, and we see it as only huge room to grow still.
Yeah.
Every brewery that opens up, that we hear of opening up, or that's going to open up, or we go to a grand opening, it's like the opposite of being scared or upset about them opening. It's more like, awesome. The more breweries that are opening up right now, the more people are going to know about it.
Of course. And you guys have such a well-established name already that...
Yeah, and we're sliding in. We slid right in perfect timing.
Yeah.
We hit it right on the money for timing.
Yeah.
But, for us in Saltwater, I think we try to really distinguish ourselves beyond the beer and having focus on quality beer, which has really become our number one, and it always was, but more than ever now, because of how much good beer is being made in the state. Our brand has always been for us a huge reinforcement, cultivating that lifestyle, South Florida, really anywhere on the coast. And that's why we chose saltwater instead of something more localized, which we just thought something just generic that resonated with anyone who loves or has enjoyed loving the ocean, or maybe you don't get to go to the ocean, but vicariously, through our brand and drinking our beer, you can feel, that way.
There's definitely a culture of that, because I see all the time those like decals on the back of cars that say Salt Life, and it's just like this kind of culture that I think exists. And like attaching onto that culture, absolutely, has been so important to us as Floridians. The founders are all locals and native Floridians. Dustin, our head brewer, actually moved down from the Northeast, but he's like a true Floridian heart. I don't think he'll ever go back. I think he'll be down here forever. Yeah. But other than that, we're all native Floridians, and Dustin, even up there, was a Jersey Shore guy. He was always like fishing with his dad on the beach, or just enjoying that lifestyle. So we embraced that. Fishing, surfing. I'm probably more fishing kind of guy, and I always surf as well. Bo and Chris, huge surfers. Chris was in San Diego. That's what I think drew him to University of San Diego and the waves originally. But that lifestyle, we embraced it, we live it, and all of our team and employees, most of them, come from that same kind of thought, but not all of them. And the ones that come, from not so much the salt, the sign of Salt Life, like you said, that background, adhere to it because it's inherently fun.
Where we are. Yeah, it's fun and it's where we are. It's where we are. You can't deny it. It's like the salt air that gets in your car, even 2 miles inland.
Exactly. So tell me what goes into making a craft beer and making it a super quality product, because I feel like it goes beyond just, I hope I don't sound completely ignorant, but it goes beyond just the hops and the barleys. Like, there's a lot more to it. Yeah. I mean, it really is a craft.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like,
don't give away the farm.
This is perfect. Because we're sitting in the lab, so this is perfect. We're in our lab. Like behind you will see
spinning my chair.
Large cylindrical tanks, fiberglass tanks, that are water filtration system. We pull.
Shout out to Culligan.
Shout out to Culligan. Yep. We do a huge. That's 8 cubic feet of carbon that completely strips all of our water, everything that's in it. I mean, it's done by that point. Yeah. We've got another kind of not hugely proprietary, but another series of things going on, and adding minerals and calciums and salts back into the water, depending on which brew we're doing.
Really?
Yep. The different brews require different water qualities. Hardness, softness.
So it really starts at that level.
Yeah, so it totally starts at your water quality.
Wow.
So that's a great starting point. Then you go into your grains. You need quality grains. Malted barley is the malted barley is where you pull most of your sugars from to create that sweet liquid that turns into beer. Yeah. Sweet liquid. Yeah, sweet liquid. It starts off so
not to derail you, but did you hear about the comet they recently discovered? I just saw it come across like Twitter yesterday. No. That they're calling it the happy hour comet because it's literally emitting alcohol behind it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Alcohol. Oh man. NASA should harvest it and sell the most expensive bottle of foods or something ever.
Totally.
So a billionaire would buy it.
Exactly.
Seriously. Help balance the budget.
I totally hear you. So, go ahead. I didn't mean to derail you, but I was interested.
That's awesome. I didn't hear about it. Yeah. Everybody, I kept seeing everybody's posting about the rocket. Like, this comet, this. I'm like, that's a rocket. Everyone said it was going on. No, making the beer is huge. It's everything from being a kitchen in the brewery, but it's a science when it comes down to it, because your biggest factors are yeast management. Yeast is a living cell that you are cultivating and nurturing to eat sugar to create alcohol, and a lot of your flavors in the process can be affected negatively by how yeast is handled. So yeast is probably yeast handling and propagation is the number one important thing beyond overall quality of ingredients.
Sounds very chemistry.
Very chemistry like
related.
All of this. Test tubes, pipettes, lab supplies.
Oh yeah.
Microscope here, microscope, bottle of tequila, as you see on the desk there.
Can't go wrong.
We've even got there on the counter peppers that we grew in the tasting room.
No kidding.
And we'll use as a smaller batch thing.
Are you constantly experimenting with different levels of different things and different ingredients and stuff?
Constantly.
And gosh, that just seems like
the brewers in the back. I don't get to spend as much time as I'd like in the back, helping with all that, ridiculously hard work and sweat and blood, sweat, and tears, literally. But all that fun stuff that they do get to also do, which is creating recipes, and experimenting, like you're saying, with ingredients. And we got a couple guys on board that are amazing. Tyler is who we kicked out of here.
No, right.
The one watching Walking Dead in the lab in after hours. He can be found at the Saltwater lab watching Walking Dead after his brewing hours.
After my own heart.
Let me know when you're done. Let me do this for the podcast because I'm totally sucked into the show right now.
That's so awesome. I don't blame him.
And so we got him. He's in the back. Morgan Pierce is originally from the Funky Buddha Lounge. Mm-hmm. He ran that and was the head brewer there for a few years.
Okay.
And we friends of ours, Funky Buddha, Ryan and Casey, the owners there. Yeah. Gave their blessing. Morgan's a huge asset to us. He's doing awesome things here. Different things I think for him, which is good because we're not the same brewery as them. Mm-hmm. But he's bringing huge asset to the table, and a lot of small fun batches he's doing. He's really him and Tyler do a lot of our brewing. Mm-hmm. Dustin does a lot of our brewery operations. He's our brew master, if you will.
Okay.
Our head of brewing. Formulating most of our larger recipes.
One of the most awesome titles I've ever heard.
I don't think I think that was he's been homebrewing since probably before he could really his family. Hanging out with Dad when he was doing it, and he's comes from a real beer loving family and background. In a positive way, in a cultural way.
About how long does it take? Typically from maybe just a concept of it. Well, I guess let me start with this question. Is there really a concept, or is it just start with playing around with things? I mean, is there a goal in mind? We want to try to aim for it,
you want to try to aim for a goal. You definitely want to. Your best beers are going to be a fully thought through beer that you can probably try a couple times to get there, and then hopefully nail it.
Gotcha.
So you really and then along the way, there could be things that happen that become experimental, or things that are good or bad that influence how it comes out in the end. Yeah. But the goal is to have a concept in a beer and then fulfill that.
Yeah. So you mentioned you talked a lot about family, and I know you're fourth generation Floridian, and so I know that going through the name of the brewery and the Salt Life concept, you guys have a lot of affection for the ocean. I mean, you're a fisher. You like to fish. Your fine art. It's just all over the water. And yeah. So where does that? Well, I guess I just answered the "where's that come from" question, but. Why was it so important for you guys to incorporate that beyond just a branding standpoint, but also it seems like you do a lot to benefit our oceans. You work with some great organizations.
I guess the proper word, which I've been learning to use now, would be the philanthropy of what we do here, and our giving back to. Our philanthropy. I love that word now. I realize that's what I was supposed to say. I say it all the time. Philanthropy. Yes. Throw that one around. Boom. But it's huge. We're I guess there's a couple reasons. One is our just general love for the ocean, and also our understanding that we come from a lot of us here at the brewery come from the concept that the Earth is it's a blue Earth. We're 75% ocean and water. We would not be, and then the blue, the water that's not blue is the clouds and the white that you see from space above Earth, right? So we're a blue Earth, we're water. That's like, if we don't have that, we're done.
Right.
We're done.
Right.
We won't be here. So there's that like root, the real root of like the reality that we know that the oceans are what created this environment we live in today. But the giving back, we use the in a loose term we use, not in a negative way, we use the ocean as our brand, and we also feel like we need to get back off of benefiting from that. We work with the CCA, which is Coastal Conservation Association, Surfrider Foundation, the Ocean Foundation, and Moat Marine Laboratory. The first three I mentioned are nationwide. They break into chapters, state chapters, and then county chapters, and then even sometimes smaller city chapters. Ocean Foundation a little different. They specialize their funding to different localized ones. So for us, it would be Seagrass Grow, and they actually, the money we give to the Ocean Foundation, where we direct that money back to Seagrass Grow, helps grow injured seagrass beds, which are the life spawning, the inshore seagrass beds, which the manatees live off of.
Yeah, I was just gonna say manatees. Yeah.
And like a lot of our offshore reef fish, actually are born in those habitats before they go off to the ocean. Mostly Biscayne Bay through the Keys, like mostly, and then also up towards Indian River Lagoon. Lots of work, and then the Gulf Coast, like fully on the Gulf Coast. CCA is more of a fishing, pulling for like the balance of recreational fishing rights versus commercial, preserving the fish that are going to be here for like generations to recreationally enjoy and harvest as their own, and as well as where's the balance where commercial fishing as an industry needs to stop, and the line where recreation needs to stop and fishing.
So it's not overstripping the resources.
Overfishing. Yeah, exactly. Work mostly towards overfishing, and then Surfrider Foundation is actually worldwide, but their national reach is huge along the coastal states, and they're probably most known for their anti-plastic campaign and their beach cleanups. So their beach cleanups have been like the root of their, but then the anti-plastic campaign, the anti-cigarettes on the beach campaign has been a huge one. Yeah, huge one for
always
Surfrider.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Anytime, and it can be on the beach, or it can be just tossed in the soil, but it drives me bananas. I'm like, those are chemicals that are seeping into our nature, into our ground. Like, what are you doing?
It's sad easy to see. When you start to like get the microscope view into it, it is sad. But then when we step back, it's like, well, the best we can do, right, is to like try to help.
Get the message out.
We like to think that like by drinking our beer, you're literally helping.
Yeah.
And that was kind of our goal in the end, was to go, hey, in the future we have plans for Raspberry Reef our beer, our ale with raspberries, to have kind of something related with Moat Marine Laboratory, which is the last charity to touch on. They create, they actually grow coral reef, like huge pastures underwater, coral reef plugs, and then they go plant them and regrow coral beds.
No kidding.
Yeah, like it's really, really cool. Moat Marine Lab, they're definitely that's like one of the more intensively research-based and hands-on of the four charities. Amazing. Most of the workforce is down in the Keys, and so they're the ones. They also get the funding from Protect Our Reefs license plates.
I've seen those.
That goes to Moat. That's that charity. We would like to eventually get it, like, there's a graph you can see somewhere online, interactive, however, if every can of raspberry reef you drink, you're building this much reef.
Gotcha.
So by a certain amount of proceeds for every can, it goes to Moat.
That would be really neat.
Just like, that's a huge part. It's a win-win for everybody. it always, from the start of the project, when we decided that we were going to embrace this side of the brand of it, was something we knew we were going to have to, we knew we had to do, you know, just for our own peace of mind, doing it, you know. So yeah, that's
helps
been a huge part of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, just coming as like, you know, Floridians and people who respect that. That's how that came from. It wasn't much more than that. Then the more we got into it, the more we wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And it was like a why not?
Of course.
It's so easy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And so I touched on it earlier that you are an artist, and your fine art also captures. I mean, beautifully captures. What I was struck by when I was looking through some of your paintings and stuff was not only how vivid it is, they are grammar, but also it makes you feel like you've been dropped into that scene for a moment, and you're there. And you know, for someone who I've never really, well, I've tried once and was horribly unsuccessful, but I've never really been snorkeling. I would love to go scuba diving one day, but I've never seen it, but in person. But it makes you feel like you're seeing it for a moment that's been captured. And then the third thing that was really impressive to me, as someone who just admires art and also can't do that, is your ability to capture light is astounding to me. I used to be a big fan. I actually completely forgot about him until I saw your painting. A huge fan of Thomas Kincaid, and you know, he's known for his capture of light. And I was like, this guy's got it. Like you're incredibly talented. And so talk about that passion and how that started. Has it always been? Has the ocean always been your muse? Did you start with painting or sketchers, not shoes, sketching?
I definitely have like really explored a lot of mediums. And fallen on paint as being my favorite to work with. You know, not necessarily. I mean, I work with spray paint to paint brushes to, you know, not literally finger painting, but you know, using my hands on the paintings literally to smudge or blend and stuff. I don't play by rules. I just do what I want when I'm sitting down and painting. And you know, I've had very long discussions about how that's with other artists. So, but. Thank you, first of all, for the compliments.
No, it's well deserved.
And I think that a huge part of it was my mom. I grew up in a household where my mom had a studio. She was a painter.
Nice.
She definitely did not paint the style that I paint now. More folk, I think, influenced and vibrant colors. Translated into me. Embracing color first was my base thing. Abstract. I was an abstract. I tried just playing with color more than anything. Larger abstract paintings, spray paint on walls, kind of getting into graffiti was a part of my artistic background that most people don't know about me, but it was a huge part of my influence.
Like spray and run graffiti, or like...
It's hard to say that you could call yourself a graffiti artist if you hadn't done that, but there were some train yards that may have been hit when I was younger.
That's alright.
But
it made you into the person you are now.
But like ultimately, what happened was I think I started painting with spray paints with acrylics and mixing the two on canvas, and then I ended up since I was like a beach guy and fishing, really into fishing and not on the boat necessarily, but like coastal, beaches and jetties and docks and
piers
piers and stuff, all that stuff.
What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite, well, early it was when I was piers and docks, and then as my brother and I got a boat when we were younger. My father had a boat as well. When I was old enough, offshore. My favorite is definitely, well, it's hard to say. I've probably done more offshore fishing in my lifetime. My brother also being a captain, offshore captain, so I've had a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But inshore fly fishing specifically is my favorite.
Gotcha.
If I had to pick it out. But
Yeah.
it's the most peaceful. It's the most target fish. It's hugely rewarding.
You like them screaming reels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We'll touch on that in a minute.
Yeah. But the beach, I mean, the ocean, it's I came from the surfboards. I ended up doing surfboard art for a while because it was tangible to make money off on the side. Mostly fish. Fish was always my underlying theme.
Yeah.
Fish, marine art, underwater became huge because I started getting underwater and taking reference photos, videos.
Okay.
GoPro's been a huge asset to me in my research.
Yeah.
Using GoPros.
And that's what helps make what the final product is.
Yeah.
It looks so vivid.
I
feel like you really
reference.
caught the action and the movement of the fish or manatees or what have you.
Yeah.
Well, manatees don't move too much, but you know what I mean? Like, the floating of the manatee.
Milk stout. Yeah. But yeah, that's been like revolutionary tool. I mean, I couldn't imagine. That's been quality. Being able to pause whenever you want and to get a reference of the angle of a fish. So it's one of my secrets, but it's no funny. Secret because everyone's got these things and they're amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's funny. I really need to pick one up and figure out what I can use it for because my last guest, his episode's not released yet, but he's a journalist and I asked him, what's your favorite toy or piece of equipment, and he immediately named the GoPros and got into the reasons why it's so cool. So it's neat to hear a totally different application of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's not, I have some artists alike, friends of mine, colleagues who are in the same type of art industry as me, the marine life, the fish, who swear by it as well. I also have some friends in the industry, a very good friend of mine, childhood friend, still a very good close friend of mine, Steve Doherty, plug him. He was an amazing underwater and fish and wildlife photographer. And we were roommates. We both got started in the whole thing, and I still, actively fish with him. But he's traveling around the world now, fishing for publication. He's doing what he loves. Yeah. And his references have been hugely valuable too. So he'll share with me a few references, and that's been recently, with how much time I've had at the brewery. It's been hard for me to spend much time in the water. Actually, the last couple of meetings I've used some of Steve's photos, which were huge assets. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, all right. Steve, how did you, when you were first getting into, being a professional artist, how did you find get into the galleries and your exhibits and stuff?
I think, I never had somebody who was my manager, but I've always tried to make good connections where I went and pushed my stuff not onto people, but onto the right set of eyes. It's all who you know. Yeah. I mean, I got into FAU. I graduated from FAU with graphic design.
We saw that.
Yeah, and graphic design taught me a whole commercial aspect that I always planned on when I was doing that school, using that skill set to use my artwork with to better. The difference when I was in school was, instead of looking for a job when I was done, was basically how am I going to use this degree with my artwork to further that career. So that's how I use that knowledge, and opened up huge doors to me.
May I just say is really smart, and I think I really want to highlight that for a minute, because the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do with my podcast is to inspire people to think outside the box and really pursue their dreams. And my whole point is there's someone who is making a living doing what they love as a musician, as an artist, as a whatever it is, brewer, so for you to go through the formal training, but then to still want to apply it in a way that was a little bit more true to your passion, I think that's really great, and I want to just highlight that for people. Yeah. So
I think
for you.
It was huge. I mean, I was already working. My job when I was at FAU was going home and continuing that painting commission that I had to pay the bill, and so my job was already kind of doing art. And the more I learned about graphic design, the more I was like, oh, this is going to be valuable for my art career. And then look at now, we're sitting in the brewery where if I hadn't had from everything from advertising, a little bit of advertising, not much in graphic design, but you learn a little about advertising layout. Not conceptually advertising, but advertising layouts, actual graphics, the way type reads to people's minds, the conceptual stuff, the color theory, the composition classes. Right. Those things like are directly influencing what I'm doing at the brewery today.
I can see that.
And a perfect example would be kind of to culminate a lot of what we talked about in this whole conversation would be the Scream and Reels. Yeah! So we've got thousands.
I saw the video of you painting that. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, so who knew that would be on a can one day? Yeah. I mean, that was the dream, but we sat down, we decided that early on this was now back, been following correctly, this was back when we were formulating our logos and names, and back when we were homebrewing here still at the brewery, we knew Scream and Reels was a name we fell upon. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago now, and we knew that the mahi-mahi, the dolphin, we call it, fish, would be our subject matter. And when you're trolling baits offshore and the whole school of these things hit, your reels start screaming, right? So Scream and Reels. So I created this painting, original painting for what we saw the brand becoming. And fast forward 3 or 4 years, 3 years I'd say, right about 3 years, 2012 I was working the painting. So we were designing a label to be applied on an aluminum can. I had a class at FAU that was specifically Stephanie Cunningham, the professor.
Stephanie Cunningham?
Yeah. Specifically geared towards product, an actual, tangible product design. I believe it had to be something that was in a jar or a container on the shelf.
Perfect.
And I chose.
Come on.
It was funny actually. I chose a water you could drink that actually had alcohol in it, so you could hydrate and drink at the same time.
That's amazing.
Anyways, I'll never forget that because I'm like thinking about this can. I'm like, that's how I know how to design a can because I did these classes. So it like took the full culmination, the full circle of kind of what I try to do, and now I'm here at the brewery executing this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of come full circle. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I was doing paintings and commissions, fine art full time. Now I'm doing a lot more stuff for the brewery and conceptualizing, creating things. But again, I have a painting on the canvas at home on the easel right now. It's a commission that I do, at home on my home studio on the side. Still, I'm still actively doing artwork. It's just I used to hustle my artwork and have to really push it onto people and push.
Not boomerang style. You wouldn't toss it in their face.
Yeah, just like I would do the boat shows and I would do all these things geared to the marine industry that I could design something for somebody for their company that's marine related and this and that. Whereas now I have a really great goal and a common goal with a group of friends for the brewery to create these awesome products, these handmade, crafted beers with art that stems from a handmade piece. Yeah. And
all still kind of
still have my and it actually has made me now really enjoy what I do at home in the studio a little more. Yeah. Instead of having to what's next do I have to create to sell?
Force it. Yeah. So I want to make sure we don't miss something because you mentioned that you had to put it on a can, and so I want you to explain to listeners and me because I don't get it. But why was it important for the craft beer Scream and Reels to be in a can in particular?
In a can, okay. So as opposed to that would be in a bottle, right? So
or just in my mouth.
Yeah. You're right. In a keg. Well, we have in kegs. We have on taps. But we have, let's see, we got cans and bottles. So there's a huge debate that's probably been squashed by now because of all the research that's happened recently. Okay. But so originally cans came out as originally it was bottles, but cans came out 50, 60 years, 70 years ago, and imparted flavors in them, and they were mostly made out of steel. And then light aluminum came along, and you had good aluminum cans, but you still had flavors that may have been imparted by metal that people thought. So what it comes down to is, I really want to bring it down to Oscar Blues Brewing Company out of Colorado. Oscar Blues Brewery. They were the ones who said, "What's wrong with a can? We're gonna put our craft beer, our Dale's Pale Ale, in a can, and it tastes the same, and it's like a little mini keg. It's fresh when we seal it, and it's fresh when you open it, and it's never been touched before. And you could get something on draft on tap. It's like been sitting there on tap for a month or two, but that thing's fresh open as soon as you open it. And the metal taste, this and that. It's not as nice as a bottle. Well, like the niceness, the bottle, the can, I can understand that. The look of it. That's an opinion that you can't change. But bottles let light in. UV rays ultimately alter hop profiles and make beer skunky. The reason it's brown is because it's the least amount of exactly. Most amount of light filtration, least amount of light in. But cans, of course, are completely sealed, so there's no light contamination ever. The other argument would be the crown tops have had tendencies, possibly, to let oxygen in, which is the enemy of beer, and there's always a little more of a layer in that bottle that could have oxygen in it that the air is in, even though all modern bottling lines are CO2 conditioned. And again, this all comes down to how well your bottler is bottling and how good your canner is canning. And as you're saying, if you have 100% on a bottle, 100% in a can, it's just saying your chances of spoiling are less with the can. Micro plastic like liners that are now in these cans allow no metal to even really touch the product.
Is that? I didn't even know that they did that.
They do that.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a.
I just made you say doo-doo.
Yeah, doo-doo. There's no.
Such a fifth grader sometimes.
No doo-doo in the cans. Doo-doo brown. So. No, but when we do get doo-doo in the cans, we gotta throw those away.
It's when you have to wash your hands.
All employees must wash hands again.
Terrible.
Huge, it sucks when that happens. No, but it's just it's like a debate nowadays.
Yeah.
You could debate it. There's no right or wrong. If you're gonna leave something in the sun, can won't get affected, but if it heats up to enough, it will no matter what.
Right.
Keeping craft beer fresh and cold is always important no matter what.
Gotcha.
And craft beer in a can's like a little mini keg.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we view it. Some places actually are like, no, we won't carry cans, and it's like, well, I guess we're not the brewery that needs to be, not to say anything against that, but we're a Saltwater Brewery. We're a little more casual sometimes. Yeah, we don't want. Oh, another. Let's not forget. Sorry, let's not forget a huge one for our brand. You shouldn't bring bottles on the boat because they're gonna break.
That's true.
You shouldn't bring bottles on the pool deck because they're gonna break.
That's true. You
shouldn't bring bottles to the beach because they'll break.
That's
if they
true.
did.
That's true.
But you really, depending on the beach. No alcohol depending on the beach. I'm not condoning that.
That's okay.
And then the last thing about cans, to be honest, is the green value. Like, there's a lot that goes into the cans that we think. I mean, it's all that plus it's less on freight. They weigh less. There's less gas being used to transport them. It's greener. They're infinitely recyclable. Aluminum is like the only infinitely recyclable material. You can melt it down and you get 99.999% of that aluminum back for use again. Glass you don't have near the turnaround.
Okay.
On recyclable. Those are like details, and they all amount to why we chose that.
Well, I mean, I think you're clearly an environmentalist at heart. You have, I know you guys do a lot with like you take your feed and you send it off to open range.
Cows. Free range cattle.
So I think you guys definitely take the environment you're in very seriously, and I think that's really inspirational. And speaking of environment, in a weird way, you guys have created an awesome atmosphere here. I mean, I walked in, and I know it's a special event. I walked in, I was like, this place is happening. This place is fun, and you guys do a lot of special events. And I just want to make sure we have enough. We touch on those before we wrap up, because I want to make sure we highlight what you guys do. You know, aside from just brewing amazing beer, you guys also brew an amazing atmosphere. So tell us about that.
No, we do monthly, bi-monthly, weekly events, rotating the tasting room. We do we call it the Reef Room. Weekly we have I could just plug them all. I could do
go for it.
Go Industry Night Monday night. Tuesday night is our 25% off growler fills. That's your draft beer to go.
Okay.
Wednesday Trivia nights every week. Free to play, win prizes, fun trivia. Thursday nights we have live music every evening, every Thursday. Friday, who doesn't on Friday? Fridays we do Randalls, which are like flavor infusions of beer sometimes.
Okay.
With a bar top beer infuser.
Okay, that sounds yummy.
Saturday and Sunday we rotate live music, and then monthly we do. I'm gonna list them off again. We're gonna do. We do second Tuesdays. We feature different local artists and do art shows.
Nice.
I manage that and the artists.
Who else would? Come on.
Rotate,
of course you do.
So if you're an artist and you're listening, please reach out.
And I have plenty of them who are part of my audience and
absolutely.
guests. So
that'd be great. Actually, I'd like to line up as far as I can.
In fact, side note, maybe 3 episodes by now, back, Vivid Arts app developers, go check them out and reach out to them, because they purposely have developed an app to spotlight like Palm Beach County artists.
Oh, yes,
they could probably,
for sure.
yeah,
For sure,
yeah.
I will.
Okay.
Definitely. What else? Another art thing is really cool. Melissa, she used to work for us, but she since started her own business, and she does mobile art classes. So the first and third Tuesdays.
Oh, the paint and pints?
The paint and pints we do. Yes,
cool.
So you have a pint, you pay $30, you get to paint on canvas.
Nice.
She provides everything in the class. Take over canvas. And then our charity events are rotating. On the third Thursday of every month is our rotating charity benefit party, which is also one of my areas, as I brought a lot of the charity connections to the brewery. Again, it was all of our idea, but I had the connections existing. And we embraced that with raffles, live music, donations of a certain beer for depending on which charity it is for that evening. Go to that charity.
Okay.
And then every Saturday, Sunday, there's a yoga class here at the tasting room. One of the local yoga instructors. Listen, one of the local yoga instructors.
Do you drink beer before or after? Because
you can have a beer after.
I can think of the argument for either way.
You can have one after. But if they clear out the tasting room, they do it right on the floor of the tasting room.
Nice.
And put on the yoga mats. And we let her take it over early before we even open or anything. So it's all to her. Alexis King is her name. You look her up. She's the yoga teacher. And then I think I've got to be missing some stuff, but we have a lot going on.
Well, plug the website.
Yeah,
to make
you can
sure
check. Yeah, say after all this, www.saltwaterbrewery.com is our website. All of our stuff. We've got a few different calendars. You guys go check them out. Our Facebook page is very active. Events lined up, all that stuff too.
Yeah, and so is your Twitter feed too.
Twitter feed. We try to do it all.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing it. It seems like constant networking is core to just so many different things that you guys do, and what value does that bring? Because I think a lot of people who might be listening who are trying to get started doing whatever it is their project is, there's a lot of value that comes with networking, and so sometimes people are too timid. But if you could just explain what that can really bring to the table.
Well, find your demographic. Find your demographic that you want to appeal to. Who are you trying to appeal to? That's your number one question. And then from there you can go to how. Then why am I appealing to that? Trying to figure out the whys of things, and those are huge things that you can't overlook when you're trying to appeal to people. Is why does it appeal to them? And what would, but why would it?
Right.
Okay, you can think of all sorts of stuff that what would appeal to people, but why does it appeal to people? That's the hardest, I think. But then when you get past that, Facebook alone taking advantage of that right now while Facebook's still right where it is.
Right.
It's cheap to advertise, things like that. Facebook huge. Relationships in every way more than then you're trying to say your demographic, but then your relationships may extend way beyond your demographic.
Yeah.
Your relationships may be for instance,
the yoga instructor.
Yeah, the yoga instructor. We've got this right now. You said we're having We're having an event here tonight. Well, it's a private organization that chose the brewery to have their cocktail hour and a private trivia night for them, even though it's open to the public. It's a group of it's the Southern Palm Beach County Young Lawyers Association law group.
Yeah.
And you meet someone there and you don't ever know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So it's just whoever you meet who takes interest in who you are and what you're doing, that's somebody who you want to target. Even if it's not your demographic, that's someone who's going to help you achieve, reaching out to them is who you want to reach out to.
Yeah.
Always it's the social media is so huge. We've met now a handful of accounts that we sell beer to and distribute to. That's a huge part of our business, is distributing our beer to other accounts and locations that we meet through social media.
Yeah.
And we may meet them at at their own bar or but everybody's got their own niche, and never being too shy to talk to somebody, because being you're never going to get anywhere if you're not going to just putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all about putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
The biggest one for me personally, it's helped my art and the brewery also.
Yeah.
If you concentrate on what your competition's doing and what they're doing, that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because the minute I start to worry about what my competition, or I call my competitions, or sometimes my colleagues, my friends, my competition, that does no good. Concentrating on what they're doing at all. I mean, that's one of the biggest ones, I think. It's just doing what you think's best for what you're doing, and then throwing it out there, because people respect that.
Yeah.
People respect when you spend time on something and then leave it up to the vulnerability of everybody in the world. That's really scary.
Podcast. Every day I'm talking and putting it out there.
Yeah, it's scary to do.
When I first started, it was really. It's funny. I had a conversation with my brother last night. He called me and called me back, and he was in the middle of listening to an older episode, and he said he didn't tell me that, and he just started talking to me, and I'm thinking in my head, I don't remember us having this conversation before. Oh, he was listening to the podcast, and it's a funny realization to me that sometimes people I haven't had, here I am, I'm talking to you, right? And somebody else will reference something that I've talked to you about, and it's a funny, weird thing that happens. You get used to it, and people ask me all the time, how do you get, all these guests and they're great people on and da-da-da. I said, you can't be afraid to ask. If they say no, guess what? They weren't on my podcast before. So what difference does it make? But you don't know what someone's going to say until you ask. So it's like you're saying, just put yourself out there. You never know.
That's part of that may even become, demographics important, but that may be the most important thing, is to get past that fact.
Yeah, absolutely. So
is that what you really want to do? Okay, then you got to do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
well,
totally.
I'm so glad I reached out to you, and that you've been an amazing guest. I mean, you touched on so many different things.
I'm sure I missed stuff I wanted to talk about, but that doesn't matter.
Is there anything before we wrap up? I don't want you to feel like an opportunity.
No, not at all.
You feel good?
Yeah,
okay.
I had a great time.
Okay, good.
It's been a great conversation, really.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me too.
I'm always happy to share this stuff. It's great to, I can't wait to share this too with my fans as well.
Oh, wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. Do you want to sign off the podcast? It's really easy.
Yeah.
All you do is say, darn it, Agardy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All you do is say, this is Peter Agardy with Curve the Cube, or Peter Agardy with Saltwater Brewing. This has been Curve the Cube, however you want to say it. It's loose.
This is Peter Agardy with Saltwater Brewery, and this has been Curve the Cube.
Yay! High five! And we're off. Good
right.
job. Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah,
You're great.
I had a great feeling about this meeting.
Okay, we're on.
Okay, so this is our bona fide blonde Belgian style blonde ale, 6%, kind of a straightforward Belgian style blonde ale, pale malts and pretty fruity kind of in flavor, almost banana-y. Raspberry Reef, which is an ale that we add pureed raspberries to in the process, and gives it like a slight raspberry fruit aroma and a little raspberry taste. Grapefruit Screamin' Reels is we do the same process with pureed grapefruit to our IPA, our Screamin' Reels IPA. And then we have here on the last, which is a little special for you.
I'm so excited.
Which is a oak barrel aged pumpkin puffer that we put in oak barrels last year, 2014.
Unbelievable.
We aged for a year. We pulled out of the barrels, and we just are going to release it for Halloween.
Woohoo! So, how long will it be available? If it's being released for Halloween, how long will it be available?
There's only one barrel, and which means there's about 50 gallons, which means
get in here quick.
Maybe 10 slim kegs, and we're probably not. I don't think we're distributing this anywhere.
Okay.
Pretty cool story behind it. We reconditioned the barrel by burning the inside of the oak barrel again. And then we actually poured a handle of Fireball into it.
Stop, no way.
No joke. And we lit it on fire.
No way.
And not recommended to try at home. Outside under adult supervision. And it gave it a really smoky kind of flavor. The Fireball was just kind of a gimmick, but we literally, it was a Fireball.
Wow.
Yeah,
so are you guys going to be...
As we were filling the pumpkin puffer last year, as the liquid was going in, as it was taking up airspace, there was smoke coming out of the barrel.
Oh my gosh.
It's got a little, I'm gonna
that must have been so cool. Yeah, definitely. Please.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing the same thing for next year?
The plan, that's the plan.
Good,
Yeah.
good. All right, get yourself something. I'm going to stop the recorder. Thanks.
You have successfully curved the cube.